My picture is of soldiers cooking by wrecked equipment in the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. Not a lot of people know, but in World War II, the Japanese were in Alaska on the islands of Attu and Kiska from June 1942 until August 1943, just 6 months after Pearl Harbor. This picture was taken in 1943 during World War II, and it shows how difficult the conditions were in Alaska. It was more difficult than any other place because we couldn't get tons of supplies up there like we could in the Pacific or Europe. This made vehicles and planes extremely valuable for their parts if they broke down. Also, food shortages and soldiers without winter clothing were a problem. More Americans died from starvation, frostbite, gangrene, and exposure than were killed by Japanese. The indigenous people on the islands were originally called Unangan, fur traders from Russia who settled there in the 1700s. Later they were renamed to Aleuts. When the Japanese occupied there, they took about 40 of them prisoner. That was every single one of them. The Aleutian campaign was good experience for our troops because the island hopping technique was used on Attu and Kiska. These islands are volcanic islands with little strategic value because of their frequent fog, high winds, heavy snow, and barren landscape. But it gave the Japanese a foothold on American soil, which surprised Americans that the Japanese made such a bold move. In order to recapture Attu, we blocked off the island in order to cut off Japanese supply lines. Then when they were isolated, we bombed them for a couple of weeks and invaded with 11,000 troops. It was only supposed to take 5 or 6 days, but because of the harsh weather, it took 2 weeks to capture Attu. The operation was called Land Grab, and more soldiers were killed by the island than Japanese. After we reached air and land supremacy, the Japanese finally gave up with a final banzai attack. The capturing of Attu left 2,000 Japanese and 1,000 Americans dead. By the time we reached Kiska, it was completely abandoned. The Japanese were thought to left under heavy fog, leaving 35,000 troops wandering the island alone. With the 2 islands recaptured, the Aleutian campaign ended after only 11 months. I chose this picture because not many people know that World War II ever existed in America. I also really like learning about World War II because of its effects it has on our world today.